Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you my entire Claude Cowork and Claude Code folder setup. This is a setup that I've been perfecting for the last 4 months, and this is one main folder that I use for both working in Claude Cowork and working with Claude Code. I don't really have to manage the context of the conversations because the folder structure is set up in a way that it does it for me, and I only work around 30 to 40 hours a week, and this is a setup that allows me to work on the things that require my strategic thinking and not the mundane things. So follow along, and by the end of this video, you will have a properly set up folder that you can just turn on. You can trigger Cowork to work inside that, and you don't have to worry about anything else really. So in its essence, what you need is one main folder that's called Claude Cowork folder. And in that folder, you want to have a Claude.md file in the root of the folder. So it's like top level. And then for a start, you can have 3 main folders. One for storing all kinds of documents that don't really belong in any project. Then a projects folder where in that you will have any projects that you want, and a place to store your skills so they can both be accessible easily from Claude Cowork and Claude Code. So here's the actual folder that I've been using for 4 months, and this is not the demo folder, this is the actual one, so I'll be careful not to show you sensitive things. It is a little bit unorganized. I do have a little bit of ADHD, so cleaning things up and keeping things organized is not my strong suit, but AI helps me with that, and I'm also building up the skills. So what you need to pay attention to is this main Claude.md file. It says that this is my Claude Code workspace. I put in some few instructions about behavior. Then it says things about me, and there is a workspace structure. So here I asked it to explain to itself on how the whole folder is structured and how it's set up. We then have a list of skills that we currently have. So AI knows when to trigger which one. And there's also some other reference things here, some preferences on how I want to communicate. There are some extra stuff for like one CLI API proxy. It doesn't really matter. What you need to know here is that this is a file that Cowork reads every single time you start it working within this folder. So this is, as you can see, this is my current Claude.md file. You can ask Claude to, hey, create the Claude.md file for me, ask me questions, and tell me what you need to know, and I will tell you what we need to put into the Claude.md file. That will be a good start, and then over time you will be able to keep changing it. As you can see, I last updated this file 2 days ago, so this is a file that is constantly evolving to make sure that whenever I start a chat, it gets the relevant context about this workspace only. It doesn't really have memories, and I don't dilute the context with that stuff. But this Claude.md file is critical to make sure that Cowork can find the files, it can find the projects, and so on. Then the next important one is this projects folder. And if I open it, you can see that I have all of the folders here. And for example, this small business plugin dev that I'm working on, this is a development folder, also has a Claude.md file. And if I open this, that explains that this is a development workspace for the small business plugin. The published plugin lives in the sibling folder /small business plugin project structure. Here it describes to itself what the project, where the project lives. You are here in small projects /small business plugin dev. There's a Claude.md file. This is that file. And then there's a pipeline for creating the skills. And there are scripts that it explains that one moves the skills between stages, then one syncs to the live one, and there's like a pipeline dashboard. And then there's another folder, the small business plugin, which is the actual published plugin, and that has things that a plugin needs. So this is where I develop the skills and the plugin, and this is where it will live. So then it explains the skill lifecycle, basically everything it needs to know to fully understand how to operate in this project. So I want to show you something. The way I would work in this project inside Cowork, which is where we are now, is I would select the main Claude Code Cowork folder. It asks me that do I allow Claude to change files. I never click always allow. I only click allow, and then I will do the permissions on my own. This is how you can use Cowork safely. If you don't really understand how to use it safely, make sure you read this, learn how to use Cowork safely, and just to be safe. And then I can tell it to, hey, I want to work on a small business plugin in the dev folder. Tell me what you know about that project. And when I start it, I want you to pay attention to what's happening here on the right. So you can see that now it already read the main Claude.md file by default. And this is the one that I've shown you before. And now it's working on it. It understands how to find the project. And now it's looking for this Cowork folder dev. It's trying to find the files. You can see that it found some plugin JSON. It also found the README file. So now it's trying to find these things. And you can see that there's no dev folder, but there's this folder. So it's funny how it didn't find the actual, oh, there we go. The development pipeline. This is what I wanted, right? So it found that this is the actual plugins project and this is where we are. So I don't have to tell it anything about that project. Everything is saved in here. So if I wanted to work on what are the skills that we have in the drafts. So you can see it's working through, it's finding files. Oh, it didn't find any files. Now it got some more files here, more files, and I think it will just, compile everything. Okay, so now it says that we have 87 skill drafts and we could get started on this. This video is just for the folder setup, not the actual work. So you can see that as we go deeper and deeper into more and more folders in the project, it has the overall structure from the main Claude.md that you can see here. And then as it opens the folders, it reads that Claude.md as well. And then it just keeps working and keeps digging. So this way I can be sure that even though I have 40 projects here in my projects folder, if I tell it to work in this small business plugin dev folder, but I open it from the main folder, it finds that and it only feeds the relevant context that it needs. Those who have a good eye might have noticed that I have a docs and documents folder. I mainly use the documents. Here I have a lot of MD files that don't really belong or didn't really belong in any project or something that I just forgot to really structure. And we have this docs, which is just for one of the Claude plugins. I also have a folder for screenshots where I just throw in screenshots here. This is because when I work with Claude Code, I use it inside the dev container, and dev containers are safer to use, but they don't have access to the universal clipboard that you have on your computer. So when I want to show Claude Code something, when it's working inside the dev container, I actually have to put the screenshots in here. This is a minor inconvenience in my opinion, just to make sure that I'm using it in a safe way and it cannot really go rogue and do anything on my computer. It can only work within this exact folder. I also have a plugins folder here, but this is actually outdated, so I should delete it. And I also have a trash folder where I just throw things I don't need anymore. The rest of it are not really important files for you to pay attention to. So mainly you need a Claude.md file, a documents folder, a projects folder, and a way to store your skills. So currently, if I press Command Shift dot, it shows the hidden folders. And this is where in the .claude folder, I have the skills. So you can see that I have a lot of skills here. This is useful because now it lives in sync with both Claude Code and Cowork. If you just use Cowork, you don't really need to have that folder actually. You can just go in here into Customize, and you can either set up skills that way inside here, or you can upload them as a plugin. Like I have this Paladin skills that is like a bunch of skills for knowledge work that I'm testing. And I also have some Anthropic plugins here for like legal stuff, marketing, and you can see all the skills that are inside here. Now these plugins that I have here are not synced, and neither are these skills. So these live in Claude Cowork's own kind of storage. But when I start Claude Cowork, it can also access these ones. I have skills about creating skills, legal stuff, preparing content, repurposing content, brainstorming for me, deploying a dashboard, deploying a static site. This tells it how to deploy it to Vercel and GitHub and so on, how to design a front end, how to use the Notion board that I have. how to use the Notion MCP, my Paladin brand and how that looks, the Paladin Guild, which is my AI community, the Paladin skills library, Paladin slides, and how to create actual slide presentations for me. You can see that this is a skill that has some extra things. So we have the skill.md file, then we have assets, that is like a background image, as you can see. There is a template PowerPoint file. I do have some reference files like design tokens. Here are the colors and so on. Slide layouts. These are the different kinds of slides that we have. A template map on, like, these are the XML files. I don't even know how this actually works because I just gave Claude Cowork my best presentation that I had, and I told it to like reverse engineer, get all the assets, make sure you can recreate this and create presentations in this style moving forward, and it actually works really well. And for some ad hoc things, it wrote itself some script, like it had to restyle a masterclass that I had before in a previous style, so it created a script for itself to do it. And then we have some more skills: post-production, prompt documenter, prompt engineering. Some I like this one, I don't even know when I used. Prompt optimizer, research protocol, skill creator, skill critique, thumbnail generator, translation, writing style, YouTube transcript. So these are the skills that now, as I use this Claude Code and Cowork folder, both of these tools can access these skills. Whereas if you add your skills here inside the customize, then it will only be available here in Cowork. And you can see it is available here in Claude Code as well, but it's not gonna work that well. I don't recommend you use the Claude Code here inside this desktop app because it's not that safe to use. It can go a little bit rogue. So my recommendation is to set it up with a dev container. But this video is mostly about Cowork and the folder setup. I just wanted to show you that I do use both of these tools from the same folder, and that folder is this one. It's also synced with Google Drive. So every change we make keeps, the version history is there. We can restore files if something goes wrong. And it's also synced via GitHub just to make sure that we have the proper version history and so on. So when I work on a project a little bit, if it's 30 minutes to an hour, then I trigger a GitHub synchronization and I upload everything there, and then I can keep working on this. That's it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have follow-up questions, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to get better at building Claude skills, I made this video that shows you how to build really good Claude skills, the ones that I've shown you. It's a full guide. Highly recommend you check that out. And if you like what you've seen here and you want to double your output without doubling your workload, then just click here, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.